is my second time having to film this because I didn't realize that my camera only films for 10 minutes, and last time it cut off on me. So that's kind of why it's taking even longer for me to get my birth story out to you guys. But so I wanted to kind of give, I know I did a little blog post, but I wanted to give like a main reason to why I decided to do a home birth. It was because I had seen one of my best friends who lives in Houston. She did a water birth at a birthing center, and we don't have like hospital style birthing centers here. We do have the birth house in Broussard, but I felt like if it was going to be like in a birth house for me personally, I would have rather just do it in my home. And I also opted to, instead of doing like the blow up pool, I did it in our tub, which as I tell the story, you'll find out I didn't even have him in the tub because of all these other circumstances. But yeah, so I watched her videos of having the water birth and not having all the medicine and everything, and I kind of wanted a different experience than what I had with Ryder, where I was 19, just to turn 20 when Ryder was being born, and I don't feel like I was well educated on everything, and I do feel like if your body is in a safe place to have a home birth, then it's definitely an option. And it's kind of crazy that I'm having to redo the birth video because after everything going on with the virus, I do see more people having home births. And you have to keep in mind that like having a baby is entirely mental. Like if you mentally prepare yourself for it, you will be fine. And I know currently my midwife is offering discounts to do home births because of the virus and everything, and more people are probably needing those services. And as I go on with the story, I'll tell you a few different things that might help ease your mind that if you are scared to have a home birth, like experiences that I had. To begin with, my midwife, I had gone to my OBGYN when I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to have a home birth. And she was not 110% for it. She was like, why, like a hospital safe, like that's why we have hospitals. And it just wasn't, like I'd already made my mind up, I feel like. Unfortunately for me personally, my insurance is Blue Cross Minnesota, and it wouldn't cover having a home birth. But I do feel like after all the out-of-pocket expenses you have in the hospital, it levels itself out. And also your midwife comes to you. So it's like you can do everything in your home where you're comfortable. So once I met with Shatamia Webb, who is my midwife, we met at Cece's, and I had a ton of questions to ask her because I'm like, okay, you're going to be delivering my baby. I want to make sure that, this is new to me and it's new to our family, and I want to make sure I have all these logistics covered. So we met with her, and she was amazing. She answered all my questions. I felt really, really comfortable. So over the course of probably like 5 months is whenever she probably started doing our visits. I can't remember. But she came to my house, and we would test my iron, just like all the different things that you would test at a normal like hospital or with your OBGYN. There are stipulations to having a baby at home, but y'all can do y'all's research if y'all want to learn more about all that. So this is my birth story and how it went down. So Ren was actually over a week past due, and I had a wedding. So he was born on October 25th, and I was due on October 18th, and I had a wedding, I think it was like November 2nd. It was like the Saturday after. And I'm like, this baby has to come out. Like, I have to have him, or I'm not going to be able to, like, go to work. And I was freaking out. I mean, obviously, like, as photographers, we have backup plans and everything, but I'm like, I really want it to be there. So I had been talking to Tammy, and I'm like, okay, what are the steps to see? Because if you go too far past due, then you have to have the baby in the hospital anyways. And I really didn't want to have to do that. So exactly a week after my due date, which was the 27th, it was on a Friday, she scheduled for me to do a non-stress test and then a biophysical all at the hospital. So I went to Women's and Children's, they did the test, and then they did an ultrasound to kind of see what was going on. And of course, Ren was being stubborn, which he is still to this day. and he was not wanting to move around or do anything. So she used some kind of like vibration machine and like put it on my belly, and it scared him. Like he jumped, like it made me jump because he was like freaking out. And now like I'm not sure if he's like traumatized for life because of it, but anyways, he woke up then. So Michael and I went to do that with my mom, and my mother-in-law stayed here. She'd been with us for like a few weeks because she wanted to be able to be here whenever Ren was born. So we went to do that, and then we went pick up Jason's deli, and I got home, and I was like eating my soup, and it was probably like 11:30, 12 o'clock at this point, and I was eating, and then we decided to watch some Netflix before having to go get Ryder. So I'm on the ball, bouncing around, playing with Effie, and I'm like, come on, baby, come on, like, it's time to come out. And I was like pretending like Effie was a baby, and I was just bouncing up and down, being silly. Well, all of a sudden, I felt like a little bit of like liquid. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Like, you see on all these shows where when the water breaks, it's like very dramatic. So I'm like, maybe that wasn't it. And my midwife had actually been with a client in Breaux Bridge for like the girls in labor for like 24 hours. And I was like, okay, she needs a break. And thankfully she lived in my neighborhood, which was amazing. And so, okay, so a little bit of water came out. And I'm like, okay, you know, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe I peed on myself, which is TMI, but maybe it could have been. So I go to the bathroom, try to pee, and then I go back, and like more water comes out, and I'm like, okay, I think this is my water breaking, and that was at like 1 o'clock. So I texted my midwife, and I'm like, I think my water broke, and she's like, okay, well, you know, I just got back home, I'm gonna get cleaned up, and I'll come check you. So around 1:15, she came and she checked me, and I was dilated probably like a 3, almost a 4. And she said, okay, it's probably going to be a little bit longer before, you know, you're going to be ready to push and everything. So I'm going to go home, take a nap, get some rest. And I'm like, yeah, perfect. And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, I have 24 hours of, like, labor. I mean, minimum, like, 11. So I start cleaning everything up. And at, like, 1:30, my stomach started killing me. Like, I was cramping really bad. And I guess because when she had checked me, it made my water break like fully. I started cramping. I had to keep going to the bathroom, and Michael ends up, I'm like, you need to go get Ryder, like, just to be safe, go get Ryder. I'm pretty sure like I'm in labor. Well, my mom calls, and she was like, do I need to like not go on my bus run, whatever? And I'm like, no, you can go. It's, you know, I'm probably gonna be in labor for quite a few hours. You'll have plenty of time to do your 1 hour bus run and then come here. So it was like, so 1:30, my stomach started hurting really bad, and Michael had just left, and I'm laying on the floor in our bathroom, and I'm just crying. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this for even 11 hours. Like, even a couple hours, I thought I was going to die. So I was looking up at my mother-in-law, and my midwife said not to call her unless, like, I was, you know, having contractions every, I think, like 4... It's like every so many minutes, but I felt like the contractions were like back to back to back. So I look up at my mother-in-law, and I'm like, you need to call my midwife. Like, I can't do this. Like, I need to go to the hospital because there's no way I'm going to be able to handle this amount of pain for that long. Like, that's how painful it was. So she called her, and my midwife was like, okay, you know, I'll come over there. Like, she's probably ready to get some sleep, and she probably thinks I'm being a baby. But anyways, so my midwife comes over. It's probably about 2 o'clock, and I guess around 2:30, Michael and Ryder get back here, and I'm like in bed crying. I mean, I shouldn't say crying. Like, my eyes were closed, and I was trying to like mentally tell myself it's going to be okay. Because when my midwife got here, she was like, you are not going to the hospital. Like, you are not going to the hospital. We are not, like, you are having this baby at home. And when she had checked me, before that, I was only at a 4, and then I don't think she checked me whenever she got there again. But I was just laying there, and I'm like, and I kept telling her, I'm like, I can't do this for this long. Like, it's just not possible. And she's like, you're going to be okay, you're going to be okay. So when Michael and Ryder get there, I guess it got closer to 3 o'clock. they were like, okay, you need to try and get up. Like, you need gravity to try and take its course and, like, pull the baby out. And I'm like, okay. So I get out of bed, and I have Michael on one side and my mother-in-law on the other. And they're helping me, like, around the kitchen. Like, we're literally making laps around the kitchen. So we make one lap, and I'm on the ground. I'm like, I can't do this. And they're like, you gotta get up. So I get up again. We make another lap. I can't do this. We make another lap, and finally I'm, like, on the ground, and I'm, like, wanting to push. And, I mean, at this point, it's probably, like, 3:15. So it didn't last long. Like, it was very, very quick. And I look up at my midwife, and she's thinking to herself, Angelina, you are being a baby. You did not just go from 3 to 4 all the way to a 10, like, ready to push. So I'm, like, begging her, I'm like, please take me. If you don't take me, we're going to go to the hospital. Like, we can't go to the hospital. You can have this baby in the car. So she texts me, and she's like, do you feel like you're about to push? Like, you need to push. And I'm like, yes, I've been trying to tell everyone this. Like, I am hurting. So she says, okay, well, you're at a 10. Like, you're ready to push this baby out. So they get the water ready and everything. And my mom was there, my dad, Effie, Michael, Ryder, and then my midwife, her assistant, and my mother-in-law. So we're all piled into the bathroom, and the water starts to, like, slow my contractions down. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I'm not, like, you would think the water would help, like, it helped pain-wise, but it was like I was having trouble pushing. So since I was having trouble pushing, I was, like, laying on my back, and I'm like, I couldn't get the pressure I needed, I guess, and, like, leaning forward wasn't helping, like, nothing was helping. And I'm like, this baby has to come out. Like, I'm crouched down, and I'm just sitting there, like, praying to my grandpa who passed away and God, and I'm like, please don't let me die in labor, please don't let me die in labor. And because it's just, like, I know it's mental, but at the same time, it's like I was mentally scaring myself that I was going to have to be in this much pain for so long. So finally, I'm like, okay, they're like, let's try and get you out of the tub and go on the bed. So at this point, it's probably like 4 o'clock. So it's been an hour. We go on the bed, and they're like, okay, you need to push. I'm trying to push. And she said, your bladder's in the way. And I'm like, my bladder's in the way? And they're like, do you need to pee? I'm like, no, I don't need to pee. I need to get this baby out of me. So they're like, you need to try and go pee. So I go over to the toilet, and I sit on the toilet, and I'm like, I can't pee. And then, like, another contraction was coming. So I'm crouched down on all fours, like a puppy dog, on my bathroom floor, like, pushing. And they're like, no, you can't push right here. Like, you can't, like, you need to go back to the bed. And I'm like, if I have this baby next to my toilet, I'm going to be pissed. So they help me back over to the bed, and I start pushing, and they're like, okay, they were able to, like, I guess my bladder went down. I don't even know. So I start pushing, and my mother-in-law is, like, pushing me, like, holding me on my back, and my mom is, like, pulling me forward, and I'm giving it everything I can. So finally, like, his head comes out, and like, you could feel it, and they were like, stop pushing, and I'm like, okay, like, I don't know why I need to stop pushing, but alright. So I was just laying there, and what had happened was, which I didn't know till after, was the cord had wrapped around his neck. And so that's one of the things that, like, in the hospital, they might say you need to go have a C-section, but at home, like, it's normal. Like, every 2 and 3 babies have the cord wrapped around their neck, like, when giving birth. So, they loosened it up. They were able to get it all undone. And they were like, okay, you can finish pushing. So I pushed him out, and everything was fine. Like, we got him all cleaned up. They were letting me hold him. Well, fluid had gotten in his lungs, and I'm not 100% sure how, or I don't know. I don't know if it was from just something from in the womb or what it was, but fluid was in his lungs, and they're so amazing at, like, getting you to, like, hold your baby and let you have that initial, like, skin-on-skin contact. But at the same time, I was like, no, like, y'all get the fluid out. So, like, we were having a pad on his back to get it up, and then they brought the oxygen tank, and I mean, they were amazing. Like, when I tell you they were amazing, like, anything you would do at the hospital, they were doing here. And they were able to get him all cleaned up. The fluid had gotten better in his lungs. I just had I mean, I like kept my eye on him that night, but I mean, it was nothing to have to go to the hospital for. He was perfectly fine. He was perfectly healthy. He was born at 5 o'clock. So from the time that I guess my like initial labor would have started, so like 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the time my water broke to the time I had him, it was 4 hours. And I guess they say like my actual labor from the time I got all the way up to a 10 was like 2 hours from pushing him out. So yeah, it was the most amazing experience. And right after having him, like I didn't have time to text any of my friends because it's like it happened and then my water broke and I wasn't in a lot of pain and then it hit me really quick. So I didn't have time to like do anything or tell anyone. So I had told one friend and she ended up like texting all my friends. So my phone was full and I'm like thinking to myself, I can never do this again. Like this was so painful. It was just such a crazy emotional experience because I wasn't on pain medicine. Like I felt everything. And I can honestly say, even though after I said I would never do it again, having my whole family there was no, you can't be here, you can't be here. I mean, even Effie was there, like our dog. And it was just humbling, I guess. Like, I don't even know what the proper word would be for it, but it was peaceful. And the next few days, I was able to have family members come visit. They were able to come into our home. Ren stayed in our home. And I was able to do everything with him. I didn't have to be in a hospital getting checked on by nurses 24/7. The only stipulation was I would eat something before my midwife was able to leave. And then she checked on me the next morning. And then she took my placenta. And she has a service where she'll encapsulate them and bring them to you. Which those work amazing too. So that's just, I mean, I guess that's my experience with it. I would definitely do it again. Probably wouldn't do it in my tub, maybe a big pool, I don't know, because it didn't work out for me. But I do feel like if you can get in the mental headspace and you prepare yourself for it, anyone can do it. And I highly, highly recommend it to everyone. Even if you already had 3 babies and you're having your 4th, if you can get yourself to do it, I highly recommend it because it's just such an amazing experience that I feel like everybody should be able to experience for themselves, especially having everyone I love in one room when he was being born, and that's just not possible at a hospital. Like, they just don't allow you to do that. So yeah, that's my birth story with Ren, and I hope this helps anyone who's thinking about having a home birth or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're just curious to learn about them. But they really are amazing, and shout out to my midwife, Shatamia Webb. She is the bomb. So if y'all need a midwife, contact her, and if y'all have any questions, I would love to answer them if I didn't cover them here. Bye, y'all.
Some days that we fake it, and it seems like nothing's right. We don't feel it or believe it, and hope is gone out of sight. So what you gonna do when it all falls down, when everything decides to break down? We gotta fight for a thing called life, to what you already know. Pick yourself up off the ground, the world will keep spinning. Sometimes you gotta let it go. Pick yourself up off the ground, the world will keep spinning. Don't let it get you low. Sometimes you gotta let it go. But with every step, we can't forget that every day is something new. We gotta wake up, we gotta shake it up and see it all from a different view. So what you gonna do when it all falls down, when everything decides to break down? We gotta fight for a thing called life, do what you already know. take a breath, take a step. Brush it off, look ahead and let it go. Brush it off, look ahead, take a breath, take a step. Brush it off, look ahead and let it go. Pick yourself up off the ground. The world will keep spinning. Don't let it get you low, no. Sometimes you gotta let it go. Pick yourself up off the ground. The world will keep spinning. Don't let it get you low. Sometimes you gotta let it go. Sometimes you gotta let it go.